Okay, we're heading to London, and the first stop that we have is the historic TWA Airport Terminal Hotel. Now, this was something that was designed by a Finnish architect in the late 50s, early 60s. It opens up 1962 to be specific. It was one of the very first terminals to have everything from scales to the trolley and the luggage. What are they called? Belts. Danielle knows this stuff. But we're going to explore this in all its glory, so let's head on in.
I love the fact that they had these older cars dotting the parking lot. I mean, they're here all the time, especially a Pinto, which we all know it does explode. Look at that license plate. But they had a DeLorean there, like in Back to the Future. This is a great entry point because for somebody like me that has this as a bucket list, to see these exotic cars, everything from a DeLorean to Rolls Royces, they're kind of intermixed amongst your own car when you park, and even this Volkswagen minibus. It's to really immerse yourself into the fact that you are hearkening back to a bygone era. The 60s and 70s are well represented here. But look at this expansiveness that you walk into. I thought this was going to be a relatively small place from an architectural standpoint. I could not have assumed the cavernous aspect. Look at Danielle looking around. I mean, this place is monstrous, and it takes a lot of exploring. And that's an important point because this is the number one thing that you will enjoy about the TWA Hotel and Museum. It is the looking. It is the experiencing. I mean, this is a twister room. You will not find this in your backyard or at your local Applebee's, but you'll find it here along with some old hair shops and a plethora of history. Danielle and I took our time to read the history of the location, and yes, there were quite a few James Bond references, and why not? It opened up in 1962. This sits on its second floor, and being a sartorial hound, it was interesting, male and female, to see the flight attendant outfits throughout the ages, and also the incredible designers that put it forward, like Valentino. You've got some suitcases here, and these would have been the accoutrements that people had. Some things looked very different than what we have today. Some things didn't. Some things were practical, some things were highly impractical, but I don't know, there's something wonderful about being impractical when you travel. It's a very exotic time where air travel was very different. These are the nooks and crannies that we had so much fun exploring, and they let you have the run of the place. There is no off limits. So there are these little alcoves like this one, these secret grottos where you can take a drink and sort of wonder, what were these things in 1962? What were people using them for? The main cocktail sunken garden doesn't open until 4 as far as drinks are concerned, which is why you see it so empty. So what do? Well, we explore the outside area where you can go to Connie, the flight and wonderful fancy here of this piece of workmanship with the TWA, of course. You can actually go in this. You can go in the Trans World airline and you can have a drink in there. But look at this at night. I mean, it really takes on its own shine and sheen. You can stand up at the top of the ladder and bask in all its glory. And we do. We looked at some of the history, some of the benchmarks that came before us. That was half of the glory. Seeing how people lived in this day and age, that was part of the fun. And it is. You really just have to lose yourself to the moment. Even these long hallways that you've seen in some of the movies. There's Danielle.
There she goes.
She is just loving life. Having a blast. This was our hotel room, and I have to tell you, the hotel room was fine. It's a little small. It does face, which is cool. The bed actually looks onto the airport, to the runway. Not a lot of room to breathe, just FYI. It's decor is perfect for the time, but it wasn't a great stay. If I'm being honest, the food, the stay itself was just okay. The rooftop pool was neat, but it was only neat. It's not something I would really gravitate to. The places where you could have a drink and some snacks were fine, but they didn't blow me away, if I'm being honest. The architectural exploration of this gets high marks, but the food, way expensive.
Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.